all of the plants are fighting to grow taller than everyone else so they can soak in the most sunlight. Cacao actually doesn't compete with that. Cacao just likes to grow wider. Flower form, the trees decided what color that pot is going to be. And here's a good picture of a harvest that's about to be broken down into the next step. So here you have yellow, green, burgundy, red, stripe, orange, a bunch of different things there. So, any questions so far?
And the color doesn't matter, it's all, once it's dried, they're all brown?
Right, yeah, exactly. We'll have these wooden crates with banana tree leaves because they're really thick and nice for insulating, and bananas grow in that region of the earth too. And then twice a day they get stirred to make sure everything ferments equally. And one thing that happens, another good picture of a fermentary is this one, but if you can see the top left crate that's open, those beans are really light white or light brown, and that's how they look fresh. After fermentation, they get darker and darker until they look like the beans up here on the shelf, or like these ones. Wow. They get really dark. Beans and all of the twigs and bad stuff out of there, we're ready for the second step, which is roasting. So with roasting, we're going to be taking those flavors from fermentation, and we're going to try and complement them and try and bring them out a little bit. So based off where the beans are from, they'll have a different roast profiles. So once we figure out our country of origin, once we figure out what those flavors are, we'll roast it that way. And then if you were to take a bean and smash it, you would get two different components. So you'd have the shell, which is in my left hand, and then nibs. They call them cacao nibs in my right hand. Cacao is actually a superfood. This stuff right here mainly is the highest plant-based source of iron on our planet. Really rich in magnesium and calcium. Also has lots of antioxidants. This side, the shell, is what has all the caffeine of chocolate. So we remove this so we can have caffeine-free chocolate and also kind of a better mouthfeel at the end, because these shells don't really like to grind. Aztecs and Mayans, they knew that when they ground the nibs, they had to remove the shells because the shells wouldn't grind to their liking. Just to show you that it's like real beans. I'm gonna run this actually. So I have a little bit of nibs from earlier.
So how do you get over 100%?
Yeah, so ours is relative to a Raphio farm, so it's 100%, but we call it mono 2 because it's a full mold of 100% chocolate, and we sprinkle 2% of the weight of nibs on the back. So, yeah, that chocolate can be as light brown as possible, and you add heat and it's back to looking normal. It's going to be, it's going to resemble your average dark chocolate mostly. So the notes on this one is a deep chocolate because of the dark roast. Best way to eat this is chew it a few times and let it melt.
Okay.
The cocoa butter, once that melts, the beginning with a floral finish, and it's a little bit lighter roast, and its cocoa butter is a little bit different for the content, so it's going to be a little bit more creamy, like the mouthfeel is going to be a little different. So this has a honey and caramel at the beginning with the citrus that comes out toward the end. Tanzania, in my opinion, I would say out of all these beans, it's probably like the highest quality, just because it's always hard to have like 3 dimensions or more. It's gonna be the pink tag up there. Madagascar has a very fruity taste, so this one almost tastes like chocolate cherries. This one has a pastry note that they call brownie, and also a bright fruit note, which is like kind of resembles berries in a way. Dominican Republic, which is the purple tag up there next to Cuba. DR, we call it. It's going to be wine chocolate like Peru. This one has the floral notes at the beginning with a raisin or plum at the end. This one's actually almost a year old. This is going to be pretty bitter to most people, but still really
So like
good
a
flavor.
dark chocolate, or?
Yeah, dark. Yeah, so this is very dark. The whole bar has, I think, less than half a teaspoon of sugar. But the difference is big between this and 100% bar with nibs on the back. I'm going to explain the sugar freeze just so we can move quickly. Sometimes people are like, this is so intense they can't focus on the next thing. Like running to relieve. But 102 has a really big following actually. A lot of people who are like very like health conscious, or like specifically are really aware of how many milligrams and grams of different nutrients go into their body. The 102 is how a lot of them get their iron or the magnesium and different things they talked about. one's nice because it doesn't have or has a 0 glycemic index, so people with diabetes can have it. Also, the flavor is not like chemical, like very chemical like aspartame.
Which country is it from?
Ecuador. If you'd like to try.
And that's the sugar-free one?
Yeah. Oh yeah, so this one is sugar-free also technically, but there's no sweetener in it. Yeah, so it's like a lot more thick or like viscous. It like almost just goes straight into your like taste buds. There's no like fluffy sugar in there. So you guys are lucky. These people have been your guinea pigs.
Why does the sugar-free taste like it got sugar?
The 102?
No, this one. Yeah.
Because it has monk fruit sweetener.
A monk fruit sweetener.
Sugar and erythritol.
Early on, when they press out the cocoa butter, you kind of do everything a little bit backwards. So you would press out the cocoa butter and sell the powder, but keep the butter. And then you add milk and sugar to that and grind it, and white chocolate. So normally it's like they press out the butter and sell it, but this one they press out the butter and sell the other
Why
stuff.
do people say that white chocolate isn't chocolate?
Because the cocoa butter substitute. Most of the time people are using soybean oil and soy lecithin instead of cocoa butter. So most commercial white chocolate won't have chocolate at all. You get a little bit of orange flavor. One thing about the olive oils is it's really rich in antioxidants, and also you get a little extra flavor because of the fruit that they grind with the olives. Did I already say it melts easier too? Did I say that? Okay. I can't remember anymore.
Do you taste rosemary?
I'm still thinking about why the Ecuador is the top seller.
The way to get it here to out of those countries would be frozen. So some like chef supply, have that. So it'll be frozen. The closest would be the cocoa juice, but we don't have it anymore now.
This is olive oil and sea salt.
Ooh, I like sea salt.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That one feels a lot creamier.
How did you decide to get into chocolate? So my husband and I were originally from Indonesia, and Indonesia is the 3rd largest producer in the world after Ivory Coast and Ghana. So our ultimate goal would be become cocoa bean supplier. So we want to get into the farming and implementary. We want to build a co-op and everything. So right now, step 1 is learn how to make chocolate, learn from other people. I don't want to correct anybody, but there's a difference between candy and chocolate.
It's the minimum amount of chocolate
Of cacao.
cacao that something has to have to be called chocolate candy.
Chocolate.
Well, chocolate candy has one too.
Oh,
You're
okay.
honest.
Go ahead.
It's 11.
What?
It's chocolate, yeah.
To be called chocolate.
That's so misleading.
I know.
Wow. And then the next one
Dark
is
chocolate.
like dark chocolate. A little bit higher.
30.
35.
35.
That's dark chocolate.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
What kind of chili?
Fresno chili. I had one time where someone was really sensitive to the spice, and then we did it in order and had the salt after. I'm like, oh, that made that worse. And I was like, next time I'll do
Wow,
that.
that's gonna kick to it.
I haven't done it that way since.
Wow.
Is this the chili?
Yeah, chili now.
So in the beginning, you're like, it's fine, and then you feel it here for
Well,
sure.
I feel it.
And
Like a spicy McChicken sandwich. It's the best explanation
It
ever.
tastes way better.
I know when I tried this, we're like, oh my god, it's way too hot. Should we adjust the recipe? But then we think about it like, no, this is to prove that
It can go in
what's
chocolate.
in season, right? So
Yeah.
these are also fruits, so whatever is in season, there you go.
Yeah, because one day we started noticing everyone was like, wow, that's hot. Wow, that's hot. It was like,
Even when I try, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa. Because before, every time I make it, I'll make my own personal one where I put extra and I put cayenne pepper in it. This time I don't need any of that.
sorry, you guys are probably sweating. Making you suffer. So this is a Espresso Crunch. This is 72% dark chocolate again. And it has coarsely ground coffee beans. So you'll taste, you'll have the texture with the coffee flavor.
The coffee is single origin Honduras.
It's a finely ground coffee, so you don't have the crunch, but this is also milk chocolate, so it has milk powder.
So do you sell like your milk, chocolate milk too, like in a powder form, or or do you just?
Yeah, those amber jars on the
Right
shelf.
here. So I have chopped chocolate at 72% and then 100%. So you're gonna taste the hot chocolate after this. Everybody gets one, and then that's how you can make it. But you can use it for anything, for baking, cocoa powder.
Cocoa powder if I want to bake with it. Okay.
This is like a bar that you chop up.
Okay.
Yeah, because in a bean like this, right? If you press it, there's two components. There's cocoa powder and the cocoa butter. Chocolate is both together grinded, right? So if it's powder, then it's just powder. There's no fat content in there.
So if I used it in a chocolate cake from
Yes.
scratch,
Yes.
right.
So it
just
depends
going
on
to add
what
a
the
little
rest
more
of
butter in it.
Right. So when you drink this hot chocolate, you'll be like, okay. Because hot chocolate is usually made from just powder. Only the powder part, because cocoa butter is the most expensive element of this whole thing. That's why they take it out and sell it to other industry for much higher price. You see? So because we make chocolate, so we get our own chocolate, chop it up, and add it to steam milk, and then we got hot chocolate. It's just basically just for powder that they alkalize it with something. I don't know what this. With something so that it makes it darker in color, it looks better, and it kind of brings out kind of this roasty smell to it. I can't speak for us, you know. So
First thing, we have hot chocolate coming around made with Ecuador and Rosa Brothers whole milk. If you can't do dairy, we can make it with oat milk, just let me know. Second thank you is, if you had a favorite bar you want to buy, it's 15% off. Or everything's 15% off for you. So
Yay, that was awesome.
yeah, you can order online.